Why do last benchers build things the top students never will? It sounds backwards. The kid who followed every rule, finished every assignment early, never got in trouble. That's who everyone bets on. The kid in the back, who talked too much, got sent to the hallway, barely passed some years, nobody's betting on them. But when researchers actually tracked what happened to both of them, decades later, the answer came back stranger than anyone expected. Start with the students who did everything right. In the 1990s, a researcher named Arnold tracked what actually happened to high school valedictorians, the literal top student in each class, for years after graduation. What she found was surprising. Almost all of them became successful. Doctors, lawyers, engineers, solid respected careers. But almost none of them became the kind of outlier you'd expect from the best in the class. Very few started a major company. Very few invented anything. Very few became the person everyone else studies. Arnold's explanation was simple. School rewards a very specific skill, doing exactly what's asked better than everyone else. That skill makes an excellent employee. It doesn't automatically make an outlier. So if being the best rule follower doesn't create outlier success, what does? This is where a very different and much stranger study comes in. A researcher named Paul Torrance ran creativity tests on schoolchildren back in the 1950s, then tracked those same kids for the next 50 years. And when he compared the results, one thing stood out clearly. Childhood creativity scores predicted real adult achievement, patents, leadership positions, major projects, far better than IQ or grades ever did. The traits that showed up on those creativity tests are the same traits that get a kid in trouble at school. Going off topic. Coming up with weird, unexpected answers, not sticking to the format the teacher asked for. In a classroom that reads as not paying attention. Decades later, in the real world, it reads as innovation. There's a second piece of this, and it's even more direct. Economists Levine and Yona Rubinstein studied what actually predicts who becomes an entrepreneur later in life. And they found something people don't expect. The people most likely to start a business weren't just smart, they were smart, and they had a history of minor rule breaking as teenagers. Skipping class sometimes, talking back, taking small risks the good students never took. Levine and Rubinstein's theory is straightforward. Starting a business means constantly breaking from what everyone else is doing, ignoring the usual playbook and being fine with people thinking you're wrong. That's an unusual comfort level. Kids who already practiced it early by pushing against school rules walked into adulthood with a head start on a skill most people never build at all. So put these three pieces together and a real pattern starts to show up. School is built to reward one very narrow skill, precise obedience to an existing system. The kid at the front of the class often gets extremely good at that one thing. But building a career nobody else could have predicted, starting something, inventing something, leading something new, takes a completely different skill set. Comfort with being seen as wrong. Comfort with ignoring the instructions. Comfort with restlessness instead of neat compliance. And those are exactly the traits that used to get a kid sent to the back of the room. This doesn't mean doing badly in school is secretly a shortcut to success, and it isn't an excuse to stop trying. Most last benchers never end up as outliers either, but it does mean the story most people were told, that the front row kid and the back row kid were on a simple line from trying hard to not trying, was never accurate. They were often practicing two completely different sets of skills the whole time. One of those skill sets happens to be exactly what school was designed to measure. The other one happens to be exactly what building something the world hasn't seen yet actually requires. So if you spent your school years in the back, restless, distracted, a little too willing to break the rules, that wasn't proof you were behind. It might have been the exact set of instincts nobody in that classroom was ever going to give you credit for.